Hello again, everyone. So the experience we did with Mercedes was basically a short-form story that was filmed in Crested Butte, Colorado. We got it during a perfect time. We had a nice big snowstorm, so we had a really great landscape to film in. So one of the things that I'm going to focus on today is the post-production workflow and removing objects from equirectangular video through using Mettle, SkyBox Studio's cubemap orientation. So the first shot that I'll go over is our outdoor cabin shot. So as you'll be able to see, when we have an equirectangular video, we get a lot of warping around the edges. So if you look at the highlighted boxes, you'll see our tripod, which when you look at it in a normal orientation, it only takes up a very small portion of the screen. But when you unwarp it, or when you unwrap it actually, you end up with a lot of warping and distortion. So it's much more difficult to erase these tripods and anything else that you would need to erase in a shot like this. So with SkyBox Studios, we're able to switch over into a cubemap formation, and as you can see, the tripod is now much smaller of an area, which makes it much easier to paint out in After Effects. So we have our dirty cubemap here. Instead of having one large equirectangular view, all of these different cameras are now broken down into individual squares, and they are undistorted, so it's much easier to work with. So we go from this small tripod to our clean plate, and as you can see, the tripod is gone now. There's no kind of idea that there would be anything there if you weren't to know beforehand. And then once we go back into the equirectangular orientation, we have our clean plate and our final product. And as you can see, all of the distortion, you can't really tell that it was there, and it makes it much easier to work when you're dealing with a cubemap orientation. So the second shot that we did was an exterior shot. So we will go to the picture. As you can see, again, we have a lot of warping here. We have a very large broken up piece of what was our suction cup mount. We also have some breaking along the line where the bottom line that separates the bottom bumper gets connected, and that's from having 6 different cameras oriented. And when you're too close to an object, you'll get a large break, such as this one right here above the window, and there's another one just up there. So when you're working in After Effects and you're trying to paint out a clean plate, working in an orientation like this becomes a little more difficult because you have a lot of warping and bending, so it's a lot harder to use a clone stamp tool or something along those lines to even everything out. So when we take it over to our dirty cubemap, as you can see, it's a lot easier to work with because this line is straightened out here, this line is straightened out here, and just overall it's undistorted, so it's a lot easier to work with. So we go to our next shot, and as you can see, super easy to clean. All the lines are straightened out. Line here is straightened out, and you cannot see the old suction cup mount. And when we undistort it and go back to equirectangular, it's a nice, clean, easy shot.
So that was a
we actually ended up doing a rotoscope and a motion track because the truck was moving up and down a little bit. So if we just did a clean plate and let it run with the video underneath, we'd have the clean plate solid, and we'd still see the car moving around in the background. So what we ended up doing, and again, when we're working in this cubemap formation, we can do our motion tracking from here. I believe, if I can remember correctly, I tracked this small point right here with our motion tracker, and then just put the plate on top, and it followed along nice and easily, so you couldn't really see anything after that. The final shot that I'll show you is actually my favorite shot because it's an interior shot, and these shots can be very difficult to work with, especially when you're using a 6-camera rig that has 6 different seam points. The closer you are, you're going to have more breaks in between the seams because there's missing information because you can't get a far enough view to get everything all in the same shot. So you won't be able to see it too much here, but here's a good representation of what I'm talking about. So because we were so close, there was no way to capture this all in the same frame at the same angle. So we have this big giant break, which is really hard to clean up, especially in this equirectangular orientation. One of the things that I really am proud of about this shot is I was able to get all of this car all in the proper areas of the seams. So for instance, we had a 6-camera rig, So we would have a brake here, and a brake here. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Okay, so what I would do was I did a stitching mask where I would get the entire front portion of the cabin all in one camera. So there'd be no breaks in between the windows, no breaks in between the windshield. And then we would do the same thing with all of the side and rear windows. So that when we're in full motion and the car is moving, instead of having a seam line right here, like right in between the passenger window, now we have it all in one full camera, so that when the car is driving by, you're not seeing any stitch lines in between the motion. So as you can see, if you were to try to use a clone stamp or something along those lines, this kind of warped out footage or this warped out angle is really hard to work with. But when we take it over to our dirty cube map, as you can see, everything straightens out along these lines, so it's so much easier to just basically copy and paste. Same along with this edge right here. So if we go forward one step, we will see the after, which, as you can see, you could never really tell that there was any kind of suction cup mount or that there was any brakes in the sunroof. And the final shot looks like this. So overall, Mettle SkyBox Studio has made my job 1,000 times easier. And one of the more important things is it basically gives the professionals who have been in the industry for years and years, who aren't familiar with working in the equirectangular orientation, the ability to work in undistorted footage. So VFX professionals, compositors, all those people who have tons and tons of experience and years of experience can now work in a native format that they're used to, and really start to bring 360 video and post-production to the next level. So that will do it for me. Keep your eyes out for our next projects, which are going to be the 2017 Audi R8 Daytona Hot Lap with their professional driver Dion von Moltke. And we also have a experience coming from Bentley called Music to Your Ears, which is basically two Bentleys chasing each other through the desert with a helicopter trying to catch up to both of them. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to come talk to me afterwards. And if anybody would like to see the Mercedes 360 experience in the Gear VR, I'll be standing right here for about 20-30 minutes. Thank you, everybody.